It's time for Wretched Radio with Todd Friel.
Oh, boy. Not much to talk about in the world. What are we going to do to fill? Well, I guess Francis Chan will have to do. This is Wretched Radio. Francis Chan finding himself in the news for high-profile ecumenical events. What is ecumenism? It is the thing that we are warned to do and the thing that we're warned to not do. We are to have unity as long as there is truth in the essentials, that cardinal doctrines are agreed upon. John 17, we have unity, and it should be really, really sweet, even as we disagree on some secondary issues. Was just watching, for instance, the Q&A from the Ligonier Conference. Steve Lawson, Believer's Baptism guy, sitting with a bunch of Paedo-Baptists. That's ecumenism of the right kind. Unity, because baptism is a secondary issue. As long as it doesn't become salvation through baptism, then there's disagreement and we get along. However, 2 John, you'll recall John, the disciple of love, speaking very clearly, do not have ecumenism with false teachers. Starting in verse 7 of 2 John, he warns, many deceivers have gone out into the world, and the issue is Christology. They don't profess Jesus rightly. That's an essential. Listen to what John warns. 2 John 10, if anyone comes to you and does not bring correct Christology, do not receive him into your house, nor even greet him, for he who greets him shares in his evil deeds. That is the clear warning against ecumenism. And that, I think, is the primary concern about one Francis Chan. I don't think anybody is calling the man a heretic because of his teaching. I don't think so. I don't think anybody's got him on record denying Christology, Trinitarian theology, salvation by grace alone. I don't think so. But he has a history that is seeming to intensify of speaking with groups that are notoriously false. Two of them in particular, the New Apostolic Reformation movement. He's been speaking at the Mike Bickle IHOP conference since, drumroll please, 2013. And 3 or 4 times since then, stating, quote, I was warned to not come here, but I love Mike Bickle. I love this guy. I really love this guy. That caused many of us to go, uh-oh. Recently, speaking at the Send conference, having his picture taken with Benny Hinn. Is there anybody who doesn't know what Benny's up to? I can understand the picture with Heidi Baker. You don't know who she is, but Benny Hinn, Todd White, hugging Todd White. And many people have now concluded, it seems that Francis Chan, while not a heretic, should not be considered a teacher who is profitable or reliable. And that has caused many people to be annoyed. We talked about this last week. Francis Chan has responded to people who have expressed their concerns, and I'm very glad that he has. So now the question is, just days after the Send conference, a lot of people were critical of him. He's responding. Remember, history happens in time. Our attitude toward Francis several days later could be different. Might not be. Might regress. Might progress. But now we've got some responses from Francis Chan. How do we treat this document that you can find at wearechurch.com. Wearechurch.com. We'll let that one go. You can read the whole thing. It's a response to some concerns by Francis Chan. Let's make our way through it charitably, see what we can learn, and if nothing else through this exercise, even if we don't conclude anything in particular about Francis, let's use this as a discernment sharpening exercise. I have to confess to you, I have been absolutely thrilled at the engagement that I have had with people who agreed, disagreed, a little bit here, a little bit there with my comments that I made about Francis Chan. It's high-level thinking through critical issues. And that, to me, if nothing else, is a benefit in this exercise. So let's read his article, hopefully, and yet with discernment. Why? Because Francis has demonstrated he is indeed guilty of 2 John 10 ecumenism. If, by the way, you weren't persuaded of that, this is Francis Chan at an event called One Thing, the Ecumenical Track. Remember? Ecumenism, ecumenical track. This is with Roman Catholics. Francis Chan with a room full of Roman Catholics. Another group of people that he has partnered with that are outside of orthodoxy. This is kind of a no-brainer. We should also note Francis Chan once had Mike Gendron speak at his church. Apparently he didn't okay that. Somebody at his church did. Mike, former Roman Catholic, has spoken out against Roman Catholicism for years. Francis Chan apologized for letting him speak there. Gulp.
And I think it's time for us to get beyond, okay, I'll sing with them. Okay, I'll worship with them. Okay, I'll admit that they're Christians, and go to a biblical stance, which just says, I can't live without them.
Francis Chan, One Thing Ecumenical Track.
And so I know we have some differences. I get that. And I will tell you, I don't know how to work through some of the differences. I'm not even sure what they all are.
Really?
But what I do know is that I can't say I have no need of you, but instead I know I'm so much stronger when I'm united with them.
That's just troubling. Any believer, as much as you might love Francis Chan, you should hear that and go, wait, what? Francis, you're not familiar with what the Roman Catholic Church teaches? You don't know what the differences are or how to work through them? Here it is. Mark those which cause division contrary to that which you have learned and avoid them. That's all. Let's make our way through his response charitably, discerningly. Answering the question that I don't think anybody has really been asking, what do you believe regarding the prosperity gospel? He says it's a dangerous teaching, and he does an excellent job of laying that out. However, that's not what most are concerned about. Most are concerned about what you just heard. Most are concerned at the partnering with the NAR. Is there an element of prosperity doctrine in the NAR? Yes, there is. Is that the main thing? No. And his hug with Benny Hinn, okay, he's a prosperity guy. Otherwise, Francis has been hobnobbing with the Bethel crowd, speaking at Bethel Church, speaking at IHOP. That's not prosperity gospel as much as it is outside of orthodoxy and completely wacky chicanery. Nevertheless, he answers the question, why do you sometimes accept speaking engagements in places that tolerate theology that is different from yours? There's our 2 John 10 verse. Here's his answer, quote, it seems more effective to speak where there is less Bible teaching. Okay, what you're going to hear throughout this letter is a bit of pragmatism. I teach the Bible, says Francis. I go to places where they don't in an effort to have an effect. That I can get. But if they're teaching the Bible wrongly, then I'm violating 2 John 10 and I shouldn't be going. Quote, it has not been my practice to ask who will share the platform with me and to research the other speakers. There are many I know little about. Okay, I would say, regardless of the fact that we are living in a technological age where everything is on the YouTube machine, wherever you speak, it gets filmed and posted someplace, people have record of it. It doesn't matter. I still have a responsibility if I'm going to go speak someplace to ask the question, who else is there? Because you don't want to be sharing a platform with somebody who's outside of orthodoxy. I have spoken in a number of different churches, and I am not on the same theological page as them on several issues. But that's not the same as going to speak with a bunch of heretics. This current experience has caused me to consider exercising more caution and to develop a team to help me research. That's excellent. Now we can grab onto that, can't we? That's something good. However, the next sentence kind of tamps it down a little bit. That being said, I speak in many places where I'm not in alignment theologically. Okay, here's why this is just a little too loose. It's not just being in alignment theologically. I have spoken in a Presbyterian church. I am not in alignment with them on covenantalism, on church polity, on baptism. We can disagree on those things. We're not in alignment theologically, but I love my Presbyterian brothers and sisters. That's not what's in view here. It's the type of ecumenism, being aligned theologically by appearing on a platform with somebody that is way out there. And Benny Hinn, does anybody not realize this guy is a false teacher? Furthermore, when you have been warned in advance, hey, this is false teaching going on at the IHOP, and he says, I'm going anyway, and then affirms them? Some good, some bad. We continue with Francis's response next on Wretched Radio.